Joining us, ranking member of the House Budget Committee, Democratic Congressman Brendan Boyle of Pennsylvania. Can we start there on defense spending? We have learned a lesson in this war that the Patriot missiles that we're using to shoot down the Iranian drones, I mean, the price disparity there is insane. The drones are very cheap and the Patriot missiles are very expensive. Ukraine has a very cheap way of getting those same sorts of drones down. Do we need to increase defense spending or do we need to spend smarter?
Yeah, well, it's good to be with you. A couple points on that. First, I give the Ukrainians incredible credit. Fighting literally for their own survival, they have reinvented warfare with the drone technology. And I do think in the future, much the same way World War I actually reinvented war in its time, I think we're seeing Russia's war in Ukraine lead to a reinvention and a rethinking of what our defense priorities should be. All of that having been said, the idea that we're really going to pursue a massive $400 billion increase in our defense budget while at the same time taking away health care from 15 million Americans, I think that is both wrong and immoral.
How do you increase defense spending in this new world, and we're learning how to wage it differently, while also maintaining the social safety net?
Well, the White House answers that by simply refusing to retain the social safety net. This is a war of choice that they have pursued. Russ Vought, who finally, after 15 months of ducking our committee, appeared and testified today. He refused to actually put a specific figure on what their ask will be for the Iran war, but we do know that they have requested a whopping 42% increase in the defense budget, all told, for Iran as well as everything else. At the same time, they passed a tax bill last summer that eliminates health care for more than 15 million Americans and cuts nutrition assistance, eliminates it, in fact, for millions more. So that's a reflection, like any budget, it's a reflection of the priorities of the one who is making the budget. We know the priorities of this administration are for war and not for the basic needs of the American people.
Let me just list what he was asked about in terms of non-defense spending cuts. He was asked about Medicare and Medicaid, which we've just spoken about, SNAP, funding to NIH, home energy assistance, the Department of Education budgets, FEMA disaster recovery. We've had a lot of very expensive storms lately. Green energy investments. Interesting, because I think we're learning that being reliant on oil has some negative effects. And green energy investment is certainly something that China is doing really well right now. Foreign aid through USAID budget and HHS funding for behavioral health treatment and support. Again, why can't we fund these things and also have a strong Pentagon? What's the Democratic argument for both of those?
Well, first, in terms of how Russ Vought responded to those things, when he was asked over the course of the 3 hours of our committee hearing, for most things, his basic answer was it's all fraud, that these weren't real cuts that were going to impact people who are legitimately on these programs. It was all fraudsters and illegals, and sometimes would invoke trans issue as well. I mean, it was just complete nonsense, and I was proud to call him on nonsense when I had my time to question him. In terms of the Democratic response, it's simple. We want to prioritize the needs of the American people. The reality is millions of Americans are about to lose their health care coverage because of what this administration has done. We want to spend those funds back on saving the health care of the American people who are about to lose it. This administration says no. Instead, they want to redirect those funds to a war in Iran that we didn't have to fight.
Let me play Congressman McGarvey talking to Vought about the fraud claims that you just mentioned. He was asking specifically about home heating.
You admitted earlier to zeroing out that program, but you said it was because of fraud. Right? Do you believe that the 150,000 Kentuckians, the seniors who rely on this program to heat their homes in the winter, are all committing fraud?
I believe that there have been numerous government studies and nonprofit studies that have said this is a fraudulent.
I'm going to reclaim my time here because what you told me is you said just a second ago, I don't assume the American people engage in tax fraud, but I guess you assume every senior in Kentucky is engaging fraud because they want to have a cool home in the summer and a warm home in the winter.
So he was talking about how the Government Accountability Office, he says it's very partisan and typically wrong. It's typically the exact opposite, the numbers of whatever GAO cites. Was it, given that he disputed the foundational facts that he was asked about, was it worth having him today?
I do think it's worth having him there, even though he lied repeatedly, made absurd claims. When I presented to him the fact that millions of Americans are going to lose their health care, or that $4 trillion is going to be added to the debt because of their actions, he disputed all of those figures, even though some of them were from right of center organizations, some of them were for left of center organizations. CBO has verified everything that I've said. His response to all of this is that that's woke nonsense, essentially. They're all wrong, but he, big brain Russ Vought, and his radical right-wing ideology that led actually to him being the principal author of Trump's Project 2025, that he's right, his radical right-wing ideology is right, and that we're all wrong. That was basically what he said for 3 hours. I'm glad the American people had the opportunity to hear from him, because the more we talk about how much this administration has failed, I think the quicker we will be to actually delivering real relief for the American people when we're in charge come January.
Congressman Boyle, thank you so much, the ranking member on House Budget. Appreciate your time.